Hi, I'm Kent Devereaux from Goucher College, and I'm going to talk a little bit about who Goucher College is, because I think it's important to have kind of some historical context for why in the hell would a 140-year-old liberal arts college be partnering with a contracting company, not what's something you would typically think about. So a little bit about Goucher, but also about three specific initiatives that we're taking that we feel are bold moves for the time right now. And it's really kind of redefining a vision for who we are, and I would kind of posit for higher education in general going forward. And the two big trends that we're seeing right now, one that we've seen for the last 50 years, the influx of technology and how it is changing the landscape of higher education in just about every aspect of our lives, but also demographics and what that means for us going forward in a very, very specific way that has a lot of ramifications for higher education, but also potentially for your business and future investments. So a little bit about Goucher. Goucher, as I said, is a 140-year-old institution, founded right here in Baltimore, not far from here actually, 23rd Street in St. Paul. We were founded by the Reverend John Franklin Goucher and Mary Fisher, his wife, as the Women's College of Baltimore City. Why? Because women were not admitted to Johns Hopkins University or the University of Maryland until the 20th century. He also, little known fact, he also was the chair of the board for 42 years and donated the land for Morgan College, what became Morgan State University today. So this commitment to access to those who were denied education, African Americans and women in the 19th century, carries on into today. Today, we're the fourth most diverse liberal arts college in America, and we've leaned hard into that. The idea that education is about access, education is about opportunity, education is about social mobility, and creating those pipelines for our students into the future. We're known primarily today in that we're one of only 2 colleges in the nation that sends 100% of our students overseas, when only 14% of students are able to do that in America today. And every single one of those students goes with it the cost built into our tuition. So we're not only providing that opportunity, but we're making sure it's available to everyone. So a big part of that is that global orientation. A big thing for us to think about in terms of the future and why we're taking bold moves today is the 3 pillars of what we're really focusing on. Growing enrollment, better student success, and redefining it in long-term financial sustainability. So think about with enrollment. Since last 20 years, the birth rate in America has gone down. So a little known fact, by the end of this decade, we're gonna have 1/3 more seats in higher education than there actually are domestic US students to fill those. So we're gonna have basically a surplus of higher education seats. So how are we addressing that? We have increasingly looked to taken our global orientation, sending 100% of our students abroad, to now look at how we can actually attract international students here into Baltimore. So we typically get about 60% of our students from around the United States, 43 different states today, and interestingly enough, they stay in Baltimore after. So we're a net importer of talent. But now we have international students from 47 different countries. Our goal in the next 3 years is to get 100 different countries. Literally on our campus today, we have students from A to Z, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe, and we hope to expand that going forward. And those are students who want to come here, learn here, and stay here, and have employment here. So that's a big part of that, which leads to the second pillar, student success. In the old days, probably when you went to college, when I went to college, just walking across that stage, getting that diploma was the end. But we've defined student success beyond that. It really is, how do we create that opportunity for that first job? So before our students have graduated, we've built in micro internships and summer-long internships, semester-long co-op programs that allow our students to come job ready out of a liberal arts college, 40 different majors into the workforce. So that's a big part of how we've really defined student success. And that's also the students that come to us. We are now the #1 college and university in Maryland for transfer students from community colleges on a graduation rate. 91% of the students who come to us as a transfer student graduate on time within 3 years. So we're really looking at that as a pipeline, as a population that really has not been served, and to get doing that. And then finally, financial sustainability. Kent, that all sounds great about access to education, but how are you going to do that and balance the budget at the same time? And that's led to us looking at 3 bold new initiatives. First, one of them that Tim Regan mentioned is our partnership with Edenwald. Edenwald is an over 100-year-old institution located directly adjacent to Goucher College, but it was originally founded in Baltimore, moved out to Towson. We sold them 6 acres of land in 1985. What we've done now is said, what if we expanded that partnership? Why? Because in 2034, there will be more Americans over 65 than there are under 20 for the first time in our entire history of the United States. That is only going to grow. When Warren Buffett steps down at 94 and said, well, at 90 I was feeling a little bit too old, maybe it was time to step down. We know this today. People live longer, they live healthier lives, they want to stay engaged, they're working longer. So we want to just find a partnership with a retirement community next door to allow our students to interact with an older generation, but more importantly, if I look out 20 years, I could imagine a college, our college, being a third undergraduate, a third graduate, and a third what we're calling lifelong learning. Because people want to come back to college, they want to take classes, they want to have a third, a fourth career, they want to change lives, they want to stay active, they want to stay involved. So what we're doing is leasing 3 acres to Edenwald, and they're investing about $250 million in new development that's going to be on our campus that's literally walking out those front doors are pathways that lead onto our campus. Access to athletics, dining facilities, library, performances, auditing classes, and even taking part on intergenerational study abroad trips, our 2- and 3-week trips to go around the world. We have trips today through our students to go to Costa Rica, Bali, Ghana, Italy, Scotland, you name it. We want to make about 1/3 of those intergenerational trips to really kind of expand both the educational opportunities for our students, but also the people of Edenwald and beyond. The second big initiative that we're doing is we just broke ground 2 weeks ago on a new $50 million science building. Why? Because we were actually one of the first colleges in America to allow women to take sciences back in 1885. And since then have really been prominent in terms of graduating lots of women, and now in the last 40 years, women and men into the sciences, launching them into careers, about 1/3 going into research, onto Research One universities. So 2 floors of this new building are going to be occupied by our biology, chemistry, biochemistry, neurosciences, environmental science labs, expanded new state-of-the-art. But the ground floor, we're building and we're leaving completely empty. Why? Because we're looking for opportunities from companies here, elsewhere, looking for where that's going to go next. What's happening next in the sciences? Where do we need to go next? And on 300-acre campus, we've got lots of opportunities to expand for future opportunities that may come down the road. And that's finally led to our 3rd big, bold initiative that we announced. Whiting-Turner Contracting Company, a company privately held, partnering with a private, nonprofit, independent college, both of us with histories here in Baltimore. Whiting-Turner, over 100 years, us 140 years, long, stable institutions in Baltimore. How can we partner together? To us, as Tim Regan said, how can we make engineering and construction cool again for the next generation of digital native students? We have this broad, diverse campus. Students come from every disciplines. They want to kind of look at the future. Whiting-Turner just finished the Under Armour headquarters downtown here with a mass timber building. So we're looking at Whiting-Turner and saying, here we have the opportunity for our students to learn about mass timber, solar engineering, embodied carbon, all of the things that are looking at where green technologies are going, how we're really looking to kind of build the next generation of housing in this country, everything that's changing in the contracting industry with a nationwide leader. So we're moving, Tim is moving the campus, and once again, another significant investment onto 6 acres that we're leasing to Whiting-Turner, and they're building their nationwide training facility on our campus that allows our students to have internships and work with Whiting-Turner to basically spread that throughout the Baltimore region with high school kids and other community colleges who then want to get into the trades in the future. once again, another bold new partnership that we believe very, very strongly in Baltimore, and as our motto goes, inspiring future global change makers.